This is Ezekiel
and Sarah,
and we're here today for another episode of Marriage Matters Live. Yes, this is our anniversary special. She's not letting up. She's like, it's our anniversary
on Tuesday.
It's a couple days. So look, just giving God praise, thanking God. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute.
It has. It's been a good 16 minutes. Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, it's been that, you go on, give them the insight.
No, but seriously, who's not excited about being married for even if it's like 3 months?
Come on now.
Do you know what I mean? Marriage is a good thing, whether you've been married 3 months, 6 years, 16 years, 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. Amen. We will pray for that.
And this is the big thing, right? This channel, this playlist, I've said it to you guys so many times. We're here to support this kind of thing. This is what we're all about. We want you guys to celebrate 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, and beyond. Do you understand that?
Right.
That's the whole purpose of Marriage Matters, right? We're here to help you guys thrive, all right? Thrive in marriage. So we're going to keep things on and popping as we move on. So today we've got another corker for you. Really, this is a Q&A session. Anyone that jumps in, any questions you've got, chuck them in throughout the stream. I'll keep letting you guys know. Look, feel free, chuck them in. Anything you want to ask. I think today's one of those days where we'll answer kind of any kind of general question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, what are we talking about today? We're talking about enduring versus enjoying marriage. Listen,
is it a drag or are you on that racetrack? Do you know what I mean? Speeding through your marriage, just enjoying things and on a playground, having fun. Or is it like prison?
For real. Now, you know what? This is a big deal. This is a big deal because a lot of people, their view of marriage is misconstrued. Yeah, I'm telling you. Firstly, they think it's all roses and rose petals and classical music.
But you know what? We say that, right? But is that something that we get from movies and things? Because people's reality marriages tend to they tend to have their view from what they've seen. Do you know what I mean? And it's like everybody, well, not everybody, but most people, whether it's people that have been raised in marital homes or their sisters married or their cousins married, like people always kind of have a view.
Let me sit back.
People always kind of have a view on what marriage is about. Do you get what I mean?
I hear you, 100%.
A lot of people like to say, I don't think marriage is all bed and roses. Like, do you really think like couples actually think marriage is going to be a bed of roses when they've seen things along the way pre their marriage?
Yeah, I think,
what I mean?
well, as people, just naturally, we're all biased.
Yeah.
The scripture says everybody, the wisdom books say everybody, every man thinks he's right in his own eyes. That goes for you too, my sisters. So I think that's one of those things that we need to really take into consideration. Yeah. Nobody really goes into a venture expecting to fail.
Yeah, true.
Nobody has that expectation. So yeah, they think that it's going to be good, it's going to be great. And because, as the people that we are, my sisters come into the marriage and they're like, well, you're glad to have me. Mm-hmm. And then my brothers are coming in and they're like,
I'm glad to have you.
You're glad to have me. So it's like,
right.
In certain terms, especially where there's a lack of humility.
Yeah.
Where there's a lack of humility in marriage, listen, fireworks are gonna,
Yeah,
let off.
Definitely. We know a thing or two about that.
Yeah. All right. So I guess one of the very first things I want to just throw out there and really ask is, how do you guys define marriage? And we talk about this again and again and again. Those of you in marriage, has your definition of marriage changed since you've got married and you've started the journey? Those of you on the outside of marriage, how do you see marriage today? What is your definition of marriage? What do you expect to get, to give, to gain, to experience when you enter into marriage?
Yes. And we didn't mention it, but if you're on here and you're watching this now, please feel free to share it. It's Father's Day, people are chilling, it's Sunday, so feel free to share it and stuff like that. Just as anyone that that might actually receive something from this, to be fair.
Sounds good, good. Like the video. Okay, so real talk. So let's just cut in. Why? Why? Like straight to the chase. As always, come on. I want to be there. Why do so many people find themselves in a marriage of drudgery? We spoke about, what was it? The funk. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
A couple episodes ago, we spoke about, that you find yourself in a funk, basically. Mm-hmm. But how is it that so many people you have this young or middle-aged or old person like walking down the aisle, and then they tie the knot proverbially, and they kind of walk into the sunset. But then some period later, they find themselves in this space where it's like, this isn't all I thought.
Planned.
I thought it was. Do you know what I'm
they
saying?
didn't plan, but
you know
it's not what they thought. Yeah.
Some of them did plan, and they didn't plan. It's just like, people change.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, people change. Your perspectives change. That's why I'm asking. I want to know if people who are married today,
are experiencing what they thought they would.
Exactly. If their view of marriage is different, or it's the same, because realities quickly set in. Like even my sisters. Like think about.
My view of marriage definitely has changed.
Talk to me.
The reason why I say that is because what I saw growing up and what I have now is not the same thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, I'm gonna come in and we're gonna be on the same level. Things are gonna be like how
on the same level. Wait, damn. On the same level.
Yeah, like
pull back.
Okay, no, because. I grew up in an environment where women were quite dominant anyway, and it was...
They were?
Yeah, they weren't like housewives or stay-at-home moms or anything like that, always working, hustling, just kind of doing everything, being mum and dad, even though, dads are there and stuff like that, but mums were like the go-to for everything.
Wow.
And it was very much... You have a male presence, but... it wasn't well utilized.
Okay.
The male presence wasn't as dominant in a sense as the female one, I'd say.
Wow.
So I always kind of thought that I'll be the more dominant character probably at home kind of thing.
I'm saying well like I didn't know some of this before, but it's always nice to hear it fresh.
But in the sense, like when I say that, it's my view changed because you grow up thinking, it's equal. Everything is equal. It's equally run. It's 50-50. When you grow and you mature, you realise not 50-50.
Yeah.
It's 100-100.
Come on.
And just different things, the different perspectives and a better understanding as well. And my faith, like, do you know what I mean? Having the Lord as able to direct and lead me, and me being able to go to him when things are tough or when I'm just like in a place of unsurety and things like that, having that to fall onto. Growing up, I'm not sure if I saw a lot of that, that it was more, you call this sister and you chat. You hear all the talk, and you go to your friend for advice, or you go to your in-law for advice and stuff like that. You wouldn't first go to God and just kind of be like Lord, like what do I do? It's always like people are always involved in marriages. If anything went wrong, you got this auntie on the phone, you've got this grandma and grandpa at the house trying to like reconcile and stuff like that, but you never really kind of saw it being dealt with in a particular kind of way.
Yeah.
So my views, like what I kind of thought I was going to have and what I have is completely different.
It's funny, and obviously we know each other's story, of course we do, being homies and that.
Yeah.
But I think my view is similar in that, but different. I feel there are things I drew from the marriages that I saw around, and there are things I said, no, I don't want that, basically. Like when I think about the structures I saw, a lot of the structures I did see were two-parent homes. They were a man leading, a man in a strong position, although my mum, other mums that I knew, they worked, but they were very much kind of a part of the machine. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like we were a machine, a function. It's like, we come out, especially I remember like some of the wedding days, you'd go out and it's like mom and dad and the children, and it was like that picturesque family. So I think for me, many a time, that was what I was veering towards, seeing so many of those kind of structured homes, two-parent nuclear families. I was like, this is what I want. Yet as you peered into some of those relationships, some of those marriages, you're kind of like, okay, I don't really think I fancy that, but this I see and this I like.
Yeah.
But I guess we talk about it all the time. This is I think one of the rich things about this here, considering the models that we've seen before we venture into our own journey, is that we have to remember so expressly that these things feed into where we're going. All of the things that we see, whether we think they do or they don't, whether we intend in certain terms for some of them to or not to, they really do feed in. And I get little segue, but I think one of the major things I've learned over the years is that marriages need input.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the big issues, because when we were growing up, like you say, and I didn't see it too much maybe at home with me, but obviously you make reference to that, talking to a sister, getting advice and that kind of stuff, and maybe that was happening with my parents or with other relations, other families and other marriages around that I wasn't too privy to.
Yeah.
But what I've learned from now, like we say it all the time, you need accountability partners. You need to go out there and see a couple who you're close to, who you're in relationship with, maybe who's even a bit far off, and you need to message them, reach out to them, talk to them, send them a text and ask them, we need some help. We need some assistance.
Yeah.
And we need to implement that humility. And I don't think I saw, and obviously I'd have to go back and talk to my mom and my dad and maybe some of the others around and get some clarity on that. But I don't think I always saw that counsel. I don't think I always saw that counsel. There was the family unit, the family structure. When there were family issues, we'd go, you have your little kind of the community stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't remember ever explicitly from my parents or other parents. And like I say,
other people.
Yeah, like that accountability piece, that training piece.
Yeah.
There was always, if there was an issue, someone would come and help. And if there was X, Y, Z, you'd go for whatever. But I don't ever explicitly remember, the token, as we've put it now, accountability couple who was there. You check in with them every once in a while, and you were working on it. And I think this is key. Looking at where we are today, looking at how far we've come, and by His grace, I think that network, having the appropriate people in the appropriate places that can give you spiritual counsel, that practical spiritual counsel, who can even speak into your marriage, I think that's powerful. And I feel as though that's one of the missing links for the generations above us and for the generations of today, I feel.
True. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that. So, like, enjoyment. When we talk about enjoyment in marriage, I think this is one of the things that helps us to have the stability of an enjoyable marriage. And where certain people find themselves that they're enduring, it's because they haven't had that structure. They haven't put structure in place. They just... I think I've said this on a lot of streams. I feel as though many of us think that life happens on autopilot.
It's true. But do you say that? No. Why do you say that then?
Yeah, because
based around this, like this particular topic, because we've said that previously.
Yeah.
But for this particular topic, how does that kind of?
So, I brought the point a moment ago of couples coming in and they're kind of like, oh, I'm fly. I'm fly.
I got this.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the problem, I think one of the challenges with coming into a relationship with pride is that you don't fully appreciate the fact that there is a work that needs to be done. Not just work and labor, but there is training that's required. And if a wife to be doesn't have a mother or a spiritual mother or a spiritual counsel to give her the instructions and to give her the insight of what's to come. If a man doesn't have a father, a spiritual counsel, that kind of person to give the insight and that clarity, I think we all kind of just walk into it smiling, thinking that we've got this, especially in a day and age where cohabiting is kind of, the numbers is just so dominant. It's so dominant. So people feel like, we already do this. Yeah. We already do this. Not knowing that in reality, there is a layer, we call it spiritual layer if you want. There is this psychological layer, if you want to call it that, that causes, that invites this greater pressure as you move forward. And I'll put it to you this way. Why then, someone might say, oh no, I don't agree with that. Why then do so many people get married after they've been together for so long and then quickly divorce and everything tears up?
That.
No, but come on.
That was the thought on my mind.
But it's
as
real,
you were
isn't it?
talking about people courting and living, staying together, and I just thought to myself, yeah, but it's weird how a lot of those people who have been together for so long, managing just living together, whatever, 10 years, 15 years, then they get married, then they get divorced. It's like, what was going on there?
Yeah.
Do you know? You what I'm saying? And was it a thing of where that I feel like that's another topic to be fair, because it is for me. I've never really understood that particular situation. Yeah, it's just so bizarre. Yeah,
I think it's a funny one, and like you said, we can tap on that for another day. But I genuinely think that exposes us to this deeper layer of marriage. It's not the same as cohabiting, because if it was, things would be cool. And it like. There's so many. We did our stream way back now. It feels like way back. Why are you not married yet?
Oh yeah, it was way back.
If you really think about it, so many people have such a an attachment, there is such a great connotation to marriage that people don't just jump into it because they understand, even if it's subconsciously, this is actually something significant. And it's a covenant. It is not a contract, it's a covenant between two people. And I think that alone reveals to us again the deepness, the layer, the reality of marriage. And it's not something you just enter into slapdash and you expect things are going to work. And so I guess there are a number of reasons why I feel like people, like it's an autopilot mentality today. Because there are a lot of things, like especially even if we think about things that we can do so easily today. You know, just like even like you can download a track in a second, you can order food from your phone in a moment, and these things just turn up like this. So it makes like we're being trained by society, by the powers that be, to have this idea that things just happen quickly and like there is no real effort. It's kind of effortless. But the truth of the matter is there are things that require labor, that require work, that require challenge, that require us going against resistance for us to reap the fruits thereof. Like you can ask any husband, and I'll frame it this way: any Christian husband, ask him who's enjoying marriage today, ask him if it was or wasn't work to get there. And I absolutely, I know the natural guys will be like, yeah, it was work for us too. But I'm saying to you, that for the spiritual man who is attempting to live a life after Christ, understanding Christ is his model for how to rear his house, love his wife and his children. Listen, it's effort. There is no autopilot. There is no autopilot. The grace of God is afforded to us because there is no autopilot switch you can flip and you be on cruise control. It don't work like that.
But then this brings me to the question I was going to ask. Do you think that a lot of Christians are just enduring their marriages?
Yeah, I'd say so.
As opposed to enjoying, because I feel like, you know, sometimes just because people are, you know, in a church or they're in that environment, they don't want to be the ones to get a divorce. They don't want to be the ones to separate because it's like, oh my gosh, kind of thing. Yeah. So do you think that a lot of people are actually just enduring marriage because they don't want to fall into that stigma, that category?
Absolutely.
Of
the divorced one. 100%. Listen. I've had people that I've spoken to in council, and it's just a reality. Like a lot of people, and this isn't so much a problem that's isolated specifically within the church alone. If we evaluate this for what it really is, what we see is that this is really an issue. I think it's a worldly issue that's crept into the church. It's an issue of carnality. Why? Because what you're talking about is people saving face. You're talking about people doing things for, we talk about vanity metrics, those kind of things. You're doing it because you get props. It's like, look, the reality is 10 years deep in marriage and you're not enjoying it. Like, so you need to do something. Like 2 years deep in marriage, 6 months deep in marriage, you're not enjoying it. Something needs to happen. And I'm talking about on all layers. There's no intimacy. There's no conversation. There's no stimulation there's no kind of stimulation at all. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's a problem. That's a major issue.
Marriage should never be like that.
And I think that's a revelation that the enemy is at work in that marriage. The devil. I'm gonna go in. Like the devil is at work in that marriage because we were called to be one. That's right. Yeah, and that unity, like it, just you got me popping off now.
Go. Look. That's the whole purpose.
Look. So you work out, and you find
specials today.
You work out, and you find that you sprain a muscle. All right. Now every time that joint there, so it's like, let's say a joint or a muscle, every time you move it, you feel the pain. You feel that pain, and that pain is a signal from your body informing you that something's not quite right. Something's wrong here. This isn't the typical usual, right course of action. This is something out of order, basically. And I think that's what it is. When a person's enduring marriage, when a person isn't enjoying it, when you're just, going along for the ride. For many people, it's, we've got children now. Yeah. Let's stay together for the children. It's like, That's awful. That is absolutely awful. Before there were children, there were the two of you.
That's right.
And we're talking about now staying together for the sake of the children.
Yeah.
That alone.
I'm not trying to stay together for the two of you that were there before the children came along.
Absolutely. It's a revelation that something's wrong. What's wrong? What's up? Something's up. And like, there's not enough discovery around those areas to fix, to resolve these issues.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm asking you questions today.
Go for it. I'm here.
But would you say it's better to endure or to divorce? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
You know the answer to that already, girl.
Well, do you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, for me, it's nobody should just be enduring marriage anyway.
Yeah.
Like if you are just getting by every day, and you're just kind of every time you're looking at the clock thinking, oh my gosh, when's this child going to turn 18 so I can go about my business? Do you know what I mean? Or when am I going to whatever? Do you know what I'm saying? But for me, if couples find themselves that they're in the position where they've just become roommates, things are not really popping off. You know, intimacy is non-existent. Communication is, telecoms have cut the line. You know, they didn't pay the bill, so it's gone. Do you know what I'm saying? So there are just so many different things. They're not engaging with each other. Can't look at each other in the eye. Rather be talking to someone else.
Worse.
You know, all these kind of things. It's a sign that obviously that marriage isn't working, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't mean it can't work.
Yeah.
It's just that they're not putting enough, they're not investing in the areas that they should, I guess, be focusing on.
With that.
You know, so when people are just enduring and they're just like, you know, dragging along, I would never say go separate ways. You know, I would always kind of say you have to really sit down and figure out what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know, because marriage comes with so many different things, so many different weights to carry. However, it's for both parties, you know, both husband and wife, to carry these weights together. It's not just for one person. So I mean, because one person can't be enduring and one person enjoying. There's no way. That's never gonna happen.
You'd be surprised.
Marriage.
You'd be surprised.
Marriage.
You'd be surprised.
How?
Question: is it possible for one party? Is it possible for one party to enjoy while another is enduring? Okay.
Actually, I just kind of thought I was just like,
you are seeing now.
I was just kind of like, well, there probably are obviously situations,
circumstances, experiences.
Yeah,
there are scenarios. Absolutely.
Because some people have gotten married without wanting to get married, and the other person has gotten married to that person because they have their reasons.
Yeah.
So it might be working out for one person, but not necessarily working out for the other.
Listen. If one person could work, the other person doesn't work. That person who's not working is living their
I'm
best
not even
life.
talking about work like job. I mean, like in certain situations, people are married off.
Yeah, no, I know. I got you. I'm just saying. I'm saying another example. You're right.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's another example. My point is that I think that there are a multitude of scenarios and examples that you find that some people are enjoying while others are not, and I think it's more than a possibility. Yeah, it's more than for me anyway. That's why I see it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the thing for me, it's like, why are you married? For the people that are just enduring marriage and are just they're just on the ship and they're just going with the flow. You know, I would say, ask yourself, why did you get married? You know, we've had that discussion on the show before. Yeah. You know, you can scroll down in the video section to kind of find that video. But my main thing would be to find out from people, like, why did you get married? What was the purpose of your marriage? Yeah. If you find that you're just enduring marriage, you might have to go back and reflect and look at things and say, okay, why did I marry him? Why did I marry her? Why did we come together? What was the relationship like before we got married? Can we kind of get back there? Because sometimes a lot of people enjoyed their spouses pre-marriage more than they did in marriage.
Absolutely.
You know, but the question is, what was you doing pre-marriage that you enjoyed it so much, and now you're married that you're not enjoying it? You know, so there are things like, so for me, it's kind of like always trying to, even if you are in that situation where you're just like, oh, another day, but there was a time that you was enjoying it, you might have to go back and reflect on the times that you was enjoying and see, what were we doing? What was it that we did? What did we talk about? What did we eat? What did we watch together? What did we listen to? Did we go out? Did we do this? You know, was things a lot more exciting, or was it the fact that things are too exciting now and you're just not on it, and things were a little bit more slow paced, and that's the kind of person you are, things are moving too fast? Like, you just have to really go back and start to look and think to yourself, okay, what can I do to get out of this endurance? Like, I don't want to, and no one should be in just enduring, is what we're saying today.
And let's look at it, define this. Yeah, obviously the kind of when we talk about enduring, we're not talking about, you know, that you have endurance, you're here for the long haul. We're talking about you're just putting up with a relationship. You're just there because, you know, you're passing time. You want to get out. It's not what you once thought it was. It's a totally different scenario. That's what we're talking about. So it's not that kind of, I've got endurance, I'm running to the end, I'm a long distance runner, and it's not that. It's just kind of, you're staying the course, but it's just kind of, it's not enjoyable. It's not an experience that you like. I think kind of we're on the same page in terms of that. Absolutely. As Sarah said, there's another video, I think, if you go down, when should we get divorced, or when's the right time to get divorced? We spoke about that. And I think you're absolutely right. I'd never advocate divorce, but what I would say is there needs to be some discovery around what exactly has gone wrong. What is the problem? And you've highlighted a lot of things there, and I think one of the major things is a lot of people think, this is what I'm talking about, people think I have to be on my best behavior to catch her. Or she's like, I need to be my best self to catch, for him to see me. But then beyond that, it's really now about, okay, well, we're together now, so, you know, you're gonna take what you got, or you're gonna, you know what I'm saying, what I give you is what you're gonna take. And I think that's a major issue, because the truth of the matter is that you've got to be willing to give. You've got to be willing to give your best, give your all, and not just for pre-marriage. This has got to be for the long haul. Like, we've been through some stuff, sis. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and every day,
yes, bro, we have.
and every day, like, or different days we're challenged differently, but like every day we've got to bring our best. We've got to bring our A game, because it's so easy for some laundry to be left on the floor, or for a meal to be cooked in a certain way, or for a miscommunication in conversation,
finances to be
mismanagement of finances.
That's right.
Like, it's so easily for something little, something so minor to trigger something major, and we find ourselves like on the other side of the page. And I give God thanks, because I think by His grace, as you said, as we were coming up in those younger days, we were able to kind of identify and spot certain things by His grace that have aided us and have helped us to learn and to develop as we've come along the way. And I think really allowing God in has really been a game changer. We had a conversation about that with one of our with, you get the words out for me, our couple not long ago. And I think that's really key. We all understand how important love of God is in a relationship. People think it's just about, you know, I love my spouse. But again, for a natural person, that may be enough for you. But you're going to find that there are some challenges you're going to come to that your natural mind can't really process through. But for the spiritual people, like, really acknowledging that God is here and I love Him and He loves me and He desires me to have a full, a rich and a meaningful, impactful marriage. Listen, that does all the difference, because you then understand the sacrifice of God, and you then in turn understand the sacrifice that you're required to make in your marriage. Really, it's not about you. It's less about you and more about the we, in essence. That's right. Do you know what I'm saying? So so divorce, again, it's not something I'm going to say, I'm going to wave the divorce flag. I don't think, like, never an advocate of that at all. You guys should know that we don't advocate that. We advocate working it out, working it through. And I know there were some real, like,
as much as you possibly can.
I know there were some real deep situations. People would be like, oh, you know what? You don't understand the situation, and I understand it's
just
deep.
Not resolvable.
But you'd be surprised.
I mean, I was gonna say that, to be fair, like, people who are just putting up with their spouse need to tell their spouse, like, actually verbally, because you know, sometimes I feel like couples can get to the point where they bite around the bush with each other, because their communication is probably completely dwindled, and they know if they were to say something, it would just, you know, go completely south. However, I do feel like a lot of the time when couples are just putting up is because all these areas are weakening, and they're not strengthening it by actually taking actions to say, look, I'm not happy about this. We haven't done this for so long. Why are we here? Some couples have gotten to the place where they're just kind of like, you hear that statement, oh, a woman's just letting go, like she's had children, and she's just let go of herself, kind of thing. Like, people are doing that with their marriages, just letting go, letting it starting to, take form of whatever it's going to be, without actually trying to paint a picture for themselves. It's just like whatever lands on the paper is what they will kind of is what they're going to accept. So again, it's like communication is a major part of being able to start the enjoyment process, because when couples are just, like I said, just not being active about what's happening, they can see it, but they're not addressing it. And again, you have people in relationships from different generations. Some generations actually got married to have children, to have someone in the house 24/7, to have someone to prepare things for them, and women kind of knew that they were getting married for a particular purpose. So once that purpose was fulfilled, it was kind of like, well, hey, do you know what I mean? The contract's done, kind of thing. So you do have people from different generations that get married for specific reasons. You even have people in other parts of the world that get married for specific reasons today. It's not like, this isn't like 60 years ago. I think these things are still happening now, but then you have people in those situations that are actually enjoying their marriage, because both of them have come to a the understanding that we do have to talk, we do have to, so for me, communication is, again, it's like the main foundation to a lot of things. And for people to just wake up and just say, hi hon, oh, you have a nice day, finish and come back, it's a sign that they have to do more in order to get more out of it. Because how do you get to the enjoyment stage of marriage?
Great point. And I'll throw a question out to you guys out there that are in the interwebs. So do you guys think it is possible to run a successful ship, to run a successful marriage on autopilot? Is that something that you feel is a possibility and that can happen?
Yeah, true.
All right. So I'd say, let me walk back to where you were. Stepping into the world of enjoyment, I think really, we talk about this from time to time, and for me it's really about having a plan. All right?
That's right.
How can we ascertain, how do we determine what we want? How do we determine what on the same page? And then how do we ascertain that we've met that kind of, that goal? We've met that mark. And without real conversation, without real hearty, fellowship. Come on now.
Honest
like, without that, it's like we can't even begin to scratch the surface. Too many couples are meeting and they're dealing with this kind of superficial perspective of life. They're getting married, carrying that superficiality into their marriage, and they find that, this isn't really what I want. And this is a deep one. Some of them know something's wrong but can't pinpoint it. It's like they're in it, and it's just like, okay, but like some time's passed now, and it's just like, hold on, like, but this isn't kind of what I thought it would be. Like, everything's okay, but something's not right. And the challenge,
sense that something's
and
not
the
right,
challenge there is that, like, they can't pinpoint it because everything is as they expect it to be.
That's right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
They don't know. And this goes back to what I was saying to you earlier on about having the accountability, having the counsel, having that direction, having that input, having that. And it's deep. I'll be real with you. Like, so obviously you have friends, you may have some family members, you have associates who don't have a successful model. You kind of painted your picture just a moment ago to a degree. And when you've got people who don't have a successful model to build their picture on, like, that's a cause for not only confusion but disaster. Because they go forward, it's like the master said, the king said, it's like the blind leading the blind. So they don't have a model, they go forward without a model, not knowing they need a model, thinking that what they've learned in dysfunction is able to take them into this kind of new functional world, but it won't work. It won't work. You've got a single mum, you've got a single dad who has children, and those children are going in and they're going forward to say, we want to build a stable house. I want to have a happy marriage.
Yeah.
But they don't know what a happy marriage really looks like. Like your example was great, because obviously you're saying, like, I saw this, my environment was full of strong women. I came in here and I thought I'm going to be a strong woman. And it's like, just for those of you who watch it, it's not, I'm not kind of suppressing Sister Says and saying, you will not be strong. It's not, that's it's not that at all. But I think to kind of pull out, to kind of build upon what she was saying, it's really about not having the dynamic that she saw previously in our house, basically. And I want people to think about that. And the question for you guys really, how does a single mum raising a son or daughter coach that, or rather, how does the child of a single mum, all right, or single father, single dad,
single parents,
okay, yeah, all right, learn what a successful married home looks like? Because outside of counsel, direction, instruction, the word of God, and like maybe even a single parent who has that wisdom and is informing that to them, and they even have learned from their mistakes and say, look, the reason why it didn't work out with me and your dad, the reason it didn't work out with me and your mum was because of this, and I understand this, and these were my mistakes, these were some of the things I think your dad's mistakes were, these are some of the things I think your mum's mistakes were. Outside of having a real, like you used the word honest, a real sober parent who's able to be honest with themselves, know their own flaws, see the flaws of another, and convey those truths to that child. Listen, that child, if they don't do their own discovery, if they don't do their own training, again, they're going in on autopilot thinking, yeah, well, marriage just works. A lot of people think that. They think marriage just works, but it doesn't. It's like, there is so much more that's required. And like the early streams last season, we spoke about this. It's about having that rich focus on developing me, developing we. It's like first I'm going to be the best me I can be, so that when I find my partner, my spouse, we're going to be the best we that we can be. And I think too many people don't have that focus. They don't have that focus of, I'm going to develop myself, so that, and we live in this day and age today where everyone wants to be PC, and it's like, well, you don't need a man, or you don't need a sister, and it's like, let's be real, fam. Let's be real. It's like, look, the scripture, like this was Genesis, like it's the first couple chapters. He said it's not good for man to be alone. There's evidence there that all of the animals have peers, they're mates. So it's like, and I'm not against, some of us are called to, that singleness ministry. That's real. That's real.
That's right.
Yet my point is, for those of us who are not, that's what this channel's for. That's what this playlist is for. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's real talk. And for us here, there needs to be a focus and a drive. All this, I'm a bachelor, and I'm a self-made man. I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't want trouble. Like we need to be geared and driven towards setting up a successful estate. And if we don't do that, we're cutting ourselves short of the fullness that we can be afforded. So that's my long way of answering your question. Enjoyment. I think enjoyment is about structuring, it's about planning, and it's really about looking towards your spouse and being open and honest about the needs of your spouse. And listen, this starts before marriage. Am I willing to put my flesh under to support and meet the needs of another? Because if you ain't got that capacity, marriage ain't for you. If you ain't got that capacity, successful marriage, you're dreaming. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I even wanted to ask the community, like, what do you guys think it is that makes people to just fall into that position of enduring? Please let us know in the chat. Everyone that's watching tonight, just leave your comment on what you think, even from the people that you might have a marriage around you, or you might have grown up in that environment where your dad was just putting up with your mum because of whatever, or your mum was just putting up with your dad for whatever. Let us know in the comments what you think, what your opinions are on why you think people in marriages just end up just kind of like falling into that go with the flow kind of thing. So I really wanted everyone to kind of just like drop their own comments on that in there. I mean, for me, the other thing that I was gonna ask is that I was gonna talk about is like, a lot of people, well, you do have many people there that get married because they're running out of time. Okay.
Yeah.
And no one is running out of time.
I was coming to that.
No one is running out of time, but the world applies this pressure on people, and obviously, like, for the female, there is a biological clock. Yes, we all know that, okay? But we have seen, I'm not saying this for everyone, yeah, but we have seen aunties having babies at 59 and 62.
God does miracles.
Do you know what I'm saying? You know, so it's not that
God is a God of wonders.
You know, but then on the more realistic side, because that's one in however many, right? On the realistic side, most women do want to be married before a certain age. So, you know, whether and that's my thing. The reason behind why people are getting married is also a major factor on this particular topic. Because if you have a woman who is actually kind of just getting married because she knows that time's running out, you know, she's hitting 40 or whatever, and she hasn't met someone, and, you know, she can settle down with someone really quickly and then, you know, by God's grace, you know, get married or whatever, the fulfillment that she might experience might not be the same as the fulfillment that she might have experienced if she didn't get married for that reason.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So these, you know, I do believe that these are like major factors in some people's marriages, because what was the purpose of you getting married?
Absolutely.
You know, and, you know, and then again, there's a lot of the times, you're almost at this age, why are you not married yet? And then they meet someone, rush into that, start having problems, but because to save face, like we spoke about earlier, they never really get out of it, because it's kind of like, you got married late and now you want to leave this person, like, what's wrong with you, kind of thing. You know, so there are a lot of different dynamics in people's lives and situations that are causing people to just be on that, in that place where this is just life, just need to sell through this.
Yeah.
I'm not here for the fun. I'm not here for you know, any highlight. I'm just here to be married.
Yeah.
You know, and but then again, like the question you asked, what's the perception of marriage? Like, where do they get their ideology of marriage? Where do they get their you know, their view on marriage from? All of these things play a major role in whether someone's going to enjoy or whether someone's going to endure.
Yeah, 100%. I think the motivation for marriage is massively important, as you've said. That is key. And let's be straight. Like, I think many people need to repent. Many people need to go to God and repent about what has moved them to that space, even to seeking their spouse, praying about marriage, being in a marriage now, trying to change their spouse. Like, there was many of us that need to go to God and be like, look, you know what, like, forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm ready to change. Because the truth of the matter is, I said it earlier on, it's like, not only does the scripture tell us, the wisdom books tell us that everyone thinks they're right in their own eyes, but the reality is people are selfish. They are extremely selfish, and that selfish motivation, the scripture talks about the heart of man is deceitfully wicked, who can know it? Like, and it goes on and on, talking about the heart of a man, the intentions of a man, purposes of a man. And I think it's important for us to be, you used the word already, honest, and my phrase is sober, and I think it's very, very important. Marriage, you've said it before, is not for the immature. Marriage is not for the immature. Right. If you don't have command over yourself, if you don't have dominion over your flesh, your own carnality, we're looking for trouble. This is our anniversary special, guys, just letting you know. All right, Tuesday is the day we would have been married for
16 years.
You hear that? So it's an open Q&A today. I know I should have put it in the title, open Q&A, guys. So anything you want to talk about, any questions you want to ask, anything, throw them out today. Today is that day. Yes, I think really there are many things that we need to reevaluate in marriage. I ain't talking about deconstruction. No, we ain't talking about that. but what I am saying is that
to reconstruct.
what I'm saying is that we definitely need to evaluate.
Yeah, that's right.
We need to evaluate our present position. We need to evaluate the journey to this position. For some people, not everybody. Some people, it's looking at where you are today is enough, and that will kind of unravel certain things for you. But then you need to kind of forecast forward and say, look, where are we going? Scripture talks about writing a vision, like. The apostle talks about looking to the end, to the goal. Do you know what I'm saying? Looking to that focus, having that focus on where we're going. This is important. So there are so many allusions to looking forward, working forward, driving forward, going forward. There's listen, you're gonna get me preaching now, but
no, go, babes.
But I think it's important that we understand that our God desires for us to have successful marriages. Yeah. The scripture again says that it's not good for man to be alone. All right, and I think that in itself it speaks volumes. When you look at the wisdom books, just in my mind today, it's just in my heart today. It's like you think about, it talks about it's better for a man to be on a rooftop than with a wife, than with a nagging wife, or a brawling wife, or the wife who's kind of like a dripping tap, those kind of things. And those pictures are an expression of the fact that there is a good side to the relationship, and there is a negative side to the relationship. Some men have that wife who is that dripping tap, and they're in the house. They're not on the rooftop. They're there, just kind of like and psychological issues are ensuing. You know what I'm saying? It's like their countenance is changing, and I'm not blaming you, my sisters, because I know on the flip side there were some guys who were doing some of that. They may be the dripping tap. And it might be better for her to be on the roof. Do you know what I'm saying? Same scenario. But the reality is we need to do some evaluation, and we really need to understand what we want. And if from now until forever, I will consistently harp on to the importance of having a structured marriage. There needs to be unification in goals. Yeah. All right. When I came in, I had some things I wanted. When you came in, you had some things we wanted. Now, what do we want? All right. What are our intentions to achieve together? Yeah. And some of those united goals require us independently to achieve certain things. Do you understand? Yeah. For the good of the house. This is super important. But I think that there's not enough of a focus on going and growing together. It's a problem. Yeah. It's a major problem. Yeah. So, so one of the things I want to ask as well, question, what are your long-term marriage aspirations? And if you feel at liberty, you can throw some of them in the comments. And I want to be kind of hone in, not really in a general sense, but in terms of games, in terms of affection, in terms of character, okay? In terms of destinations. I know destinations might even not be a big thing right now when everyone be locked down and that, but what are some of your long-term marriage aspirations? You know why? Because if you tell me, we don't have none, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a tell.
Yeah.
Then my next question is, over the last 3 to 6 months, how much effort, how much action, how much contribution have you put towards those long-term marriage aspirations? And the reason being, again, if you've done nothing or very little, that's a tell. And the reason I'm asking these questions is just for you guys and for us to establish what's really important to us in our lives. Because we've been, if aside from our long-term marriage aspirations, marriage goals, there are other aspirations we've got in life. Yeah. What are they? Yeah. And what's taking precedent at the moment? Okay, we've done some things these last 3 to 6 months. Okay, if it's not to do with our marriage aspirations, what does that to do with? Because again, that's revealing to what's important. And obviously, in some areas, we're definitely enjoying. Some people are enjoying, and if you're enjoying in some areas, but in your marriage you're enduring, then as you said earlier on, the reality is there's not enough investment here. There's not enough. You can't expect a return in the area of your marriage when you're not investing enough, enough time, enough kind of thought, enough planning, enough money for something. Some of you need coaches, some of you need counseling. That's real. It's these are the realities. So buy a course. You must buy a course, try a course. You know what I'm saying? It's these things are important. We need to make some investments in our marriage. Sit down, spend some time, read the Bible, go through the scriptures, read Ecclesiastes, read the Song of Solomon, read the Proverbs.
Together.
With your wife, with your husband, exactly. And
together,
and I think out of that, you will see, if we're talking about, you don't want to spend no money, but you can spend some time. That's what you need to start. Do you know what I'm saying? Or if you want to spend some money and some time, take your Bible, take your wife, take your husband, take your Bible, go somewhere. Go to a hotel for the weekend and go read your Bible together. Go through the Song of Solomon. Spend some time together. Yeah. And I think these things are the beginnings of really enjoyment. These are the beginnings of, going back to your point, these are the beginnings of enjoyment. Really getting closer to understanding what it feels like to enjoy again. Because let's be real.
And you know what? Sorry, that's one thing I was going to ask. Do you think the older people get, the less they enjoy their marriage? Because it's just what it is.
You don't know the connection here yet. And I was going to say, what did I just say? I was just going to say, and you know what? I think when you evaluate the young days of our enjoyment and you evaluate the nowadays of our enjoyment, I was just going to say it. Back in the day, it was more, we were out, we were shopping. Yeah. Maybe we spent a significant amount of time in the cinema. Do you know what I'm saying? It's there was a lot of kind of group activities as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
a lot of group activities, a lot of cinema, a lot of shopping. That's what we did together. Today we do a lot of shopping together, but it's a different kind of shopping. Do you know what I'm saying? Spend time in the supermarket.
It's a different kind of shopping.
And then there are other things that we do and that we spend time experiencing like with each other. So is that you're exactly right. You are on the button with that. And I think people feel as though, this goes back to autopilot, they think the things we did when we were 15 are the same things we're going to do when we're 50. And some of those things may roll over.
Yeah.
But not all of those things can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? When you're 50 or big 50 now, it's highly unlikely you're going to be spending, a 3 or 4 out of 5 or 7 days of a week, we were with our friends together in a community. When you're all big 50 and that, or maybe maybe 50 people will be on the other side, so they'll be like, yeah, we're free again.
Yeah.
But on the journey up, it's not likely that you're going to have that opportunity because people be doing different things. You don't have that. You can't afford that. You don't afford that time anymore. It's one of those things we need to think about. So you're right, and I think there needs to be structure around this. I'm not against.
Because I was even going to say, like, even a lot of affairs happen when people are a lot older.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't do it when they were younger. It's like when they got older and years into their marriage, you know, that they moved, and you know, you just kind of think to yourself, okay, is that because, you know, again, they were just going with the flow, there was no relationship with the spouse anymore, things weren't working out, so they just kind of like moved on? Because, you know, to be honest, like when I see old people like doing that, I get a bit confused because I'm just like, isn't that done now?
But
like,
you're old.
Yeah, you're old now. Do you know what I mean?
But you much old.
You know, because for me, this topic is like, it's important. It's important because I feel like a lot of people might confuse the two. Might not confuse the two, but think it's just the way marriage is.
Yeah.
Some days you're enduring, some days you're enjoying. Yeah. Some years you're just putting up with things, and then you might get a year where things were just fantastic. You know, so a lot of people probably think that that's how marriage is. Marriage is this plateau, highs and lows, which it is, but it's different when it shouldn't be high and low like that. Like, you know, there's just constant sadness all the time. You don't want to talk, and then automatically you think it's just going to be back to, you know, fun and games again. Once it drops down to a certain level, it is hard for it to get back to that peak.
It's a possibility, but
it's a possibility,
difficult.
But it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So, you know, some people just kind of think, yeah, well, no, but that is marriage. You know, you have your up days and your down days. We're not talking about up and down days now. We're not talking about your, you know, the days when you're in the mood to, you know, for intimacy, and the days you're not in the mood for intimacy, or the days you're in the mood to have a conversation, the days you're not in the mood to have a conversation. This particular topic is really for couples to really begin to identify and look at areas where, am I actually just putting up with this?
Yeah.
Or am I enjoying this?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you have to, and it's important to ask that question. It's important to sit down with your spouse and ask that question and talk to your spouse and say, hun, are you enjoying this marriage? Or are you just putting up with it?
Yeah.
You know, and it's a tough, because we talk a lot of, we mention a lot of the times about hard talk, and hard talk, this is where you it's an open platform to really share and to say, okay, what's on your heart? Because sometimes couples don't tell each other what they're going through and what they're really feeling. You know, not every husband or every wife has the patience to really look into the eyes and think, no, these are not, something's wrong, something's going on. You know, some people might even be so busy that they're not even picking up signals.
That's right.
You know, and some people look good at deflecting, so they so the other person can't even pick up the signal.
Yeah.
You know, so it is important to really sit down and have that communication and have those conversations and really say, you know, what's going on in your heart, and find out, because if we're not having these conversations with each other, one spouse can actually just get to the place where they're just, it is what it is kind of thing.
And I think there are some signs that I don't think now is really the appropriate time to go into it, but the minute you begin to see this, there's a shift, a change where that your spouse is no longer, or you yourself, you're no longer really, you don't really care. That's it. Like you're disengaged.
Yeah,
You're disengaged. Like
that's
you're
a good
like
word.
your emotions aren't really kind of in it anymore. You're not invested. You're not emotionally invested. And I think as you begin to identify these kind of things, these are the points where you really need to say, okay, I need to check what's going on. I really need to check. I need to see what's happening here because something's not quite right. Evaluate yourself, talk with your spouse. Sometimes it's a tell. My spiritual people, sometimes when you get that sensation, that's a tell on your spouse. And I'm not saying you go and what's wrong, but sometimes that's a tell that, something's up on the other side. And the more we kind of mature spiritually, we're able to kind of identify these things and kind of roll with it. When you talk about the whole affairs thing, the kind of being unfaithful, the adultery, that kind of
When
stuff.
they're older.
Yeah, I think like just I think all along, I think that is a fruit of what I'm just describing now. This failure to remain connected.
That's right.
This failure to remain invested. And I think when a person begins to invest in other places, more so in their job, more so in building relationships with their job, because they believe that that's where it's going to help them flourish. And in their mind, they may believe that this is beneficial for their house. But if there's an imbalance there, you spend more time at work, you're doing more overtime, you're doing more on work trips. Now work relationships are kind of more significant, more important, more time on the phone with work people, less time on the phone with wifey, less time on the phone with husband. And those kind of things is where we begin to see that spiral into, you're looking at your work and you go, well, she's kind of cute still. And it's like you find yourself going down this kind of slippery slope of danger, basically. And this is why we myself and Sister Sarah talk about communication being so powerful. If you spoke to your spouse, let me tell you something, brothers.
Speak to the brothers.
If you see a woman on the road and you think or feel a way, like first you need to bind and rebuke that. But the next level is for you to share that with you need to expose yourself. You need to be open. You know why? Because that openness, that once you kind of open yourself up like that, what you're doing is you're diffusing, you're dissipating that area. It's like it's not a secret no more. You're not opening yourself up to the idea of guilt or the idea of shame or the idea of this is my thing or I feel this. You are also developing that oneness in your relationship. You're saying, we're one. It's like, I thought, I kind of thought she was cute, and you make a discussion, see, and it's not like. Look, this can go the wrong way. She can slap you, but
it depends on what you say.
Yes, I'm saying it's really about how you foster that relationship. Do you know what I'm saying? And we know how we be in it, and I think it's important. I'm not. Listen, let me qualify.
That's why it's got to be friends.
It's not okay to be thinking every woman on the road is cute and be telling your wife everyone on the road is cute. That you need to go to church, ask your pastor to pray for you. That's a different level together.
And wife, that's when you need to slap them.
But what I am saying is
wake him up,
we need to get to the space where we are so open, so free. We have such liberty at home that we can talk as friends.
That's right.
So things are going on in the office, and you can bring that home and talk to your wife. Things are happening in your place of work, and you can bring that home and talk to your husband. The more you're open, the stronger the bond is that you build between you and your spouse.
I think that is amazing advice, to be fair, because and you're not just giving that advice. That is what you do.
Yeah, we talk.
What I mean? And likewise, I could be out and just doing certain things, and a guy might try to approach me or might book it, and I'll come back and I'll be like. Like, do you know what I mean? Babes, like, this guy tried to chat to you. Can you imagine, like, did he not see the ring? Do you know what I mean? And then Zeke will now start saying things to me like...
Where is he? No, I'm joking.
Well, after that. But he'll say things like, men are like that. They, at the end of the day, and he will just kind of, I'll be like, oh, yeah, but I still feel... And then we'll kind of break out into conversation about it. But then it's not like... I just think that's great advice, man. It's great advice, especially if you work in environments where there are a lot of people who do not have the same
standard
standards,
worldview
as you know, because let's face it, do you know what I mean? Let's face it, many males and females are attracted to married people, and it's just the way it is for them. That's what they like. And then a lot of married people fall into these traps of these, you know, those people who are attracted to, because, you know, like I've heard some people want to be in relationships that don't have any ties.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
And
some men, some women target the married folk.
Exactly. And this is another thing. We have to remember that even though we're married, we are still being targeted some way, somehow, whether it's, you know, through the media, whether it's through people who are, you know, looking. So when Ezekiel was saying that we have to be able to approach our spouse and say, oh, I saw this person and I thought this, whatever, it's real talk. Like, that is real. That's real talk, guys. Okay, so
yeah. And I think it's important that we're not judgmental. So it's like, if Sarah came to me and said something to me, if I judge her, or I'm like, oh, you're looking for it, or, you know what I mean, I begin to,
why did you wear that dress? Why was you
understand?
Did you not have your jacket on? You know it's hot outside, but you should still keep your jacket on.
That's a problem, because then what you do is you then begin to discourage your spouse from wanting to share those kind of things with you. So instead of kind of drawing them close, you're pushing them away. So it's really important. We're talking about kind of like this
what, babe?
We're talking about, right now, I'm saying we're talking about, you know, dealing with kind of the opposite gender, the opposite sex, but the reality is this goes right across the board. It's not just about this scenario. There are many scenarios that you can bring back home and use as a point of a conversation starter, use as a point of developing the intimacy, the intellectual intimacy that you're fostering with your husband or wife. I want to jump into the comments for a little bit, just to let's kick this off and let's start talking. That's your comment. We got Grace is here. She says good evening. Popping. Grace says good evening. We got Kat Johnson. She says good evening, everybody. Excuse me, guys. I ain't got my normal controller with me today.
We've got Osa. Happy, fantastic anniversary.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Kat Johnson says, I think it could be the unknown of married life, and people using other marriages as templates for their own good and bad, not firming their own baseline and putting in work together. Yeah, and I think that's a massive truth. I think we touched on it, we tackled it already. As people, we need to be certain about what we're getting into. That autopilot, that kind of eventuality, oh, marriage will just be all right, it will just work itself out. Like you said, the movies, Kat Johnson here is talking about looking at other people, and really we all are modeling someone or something. But I think what helps us is for us to be actively informed about what we're modeling. It's one thing to be modeling your favorite musician, but not know that you're modelling them. That's a cause for problem. Do you understand? So thank you, Kat Johnson. Thank you so much, everyone, for your comments so far. Kerry Bernard says yes. I think that was to Kat Johnson. Damilola, good evening, sir, says love endures all things. Hence, if one is walking in the love of God, even if things are very tough for any years, then enduring marriage becomes an opportunity to become like Christ. And
that's powerful.
And I remember the point we made earlier on. So there is this focus on endurance.
Yes.
Okay. And we opened up a conversation earlier on where we were talking about, can one person endure and another person enjoy? And that can be the case, but God's standard, the God standard is for us to both be enjoying. So there are times when one person will kind of stay the course because in the background maybe they're praying, they're trying to love on that person who's doing wrong to them, they're going through. Do you understand? And then we can see a turnaround in that relationship where it's love and it begins to flourish in the later days. But like we said already,
that's enduring in love.
That's right. And I think I was getting to that point that we have to be careful and be mindful that we understand that there is a necessity for us to have that in mind. We have to be focused towards, I'm looking for love. I'm looking to love. Do you understand? So, and the goal is for us all to be enjoying and not for it to be an imbalanced focus. Thank you, Damilola, for that. We appreciate that comment massively. We have Ecosmios in the house. She says, hey all, how you doing, Ecosmios?
Hey. Oh, I love our community. Sending each and every one of you big hugs right now.
Big hugs. Big hugs. Great topic. I feel the media likes to depict marriage as where fun, intimacy, and passion goes to die. Let's not endure marriage. Let's enjoy.
That's
yeah.
right.
So, and it's key. I think this kind of ties in with what the comments we've had so far, and it's really about having a focus on defining marriage ourselves. What is our, and that was the first question I said, how do you guys define marriage? Anyone wants to chuck in a definition, chuck it out for us now. But I think that it really comes down to that. First, defining our marriage. And as I said a moment ago, what standard are we defining it by? Who are the models that we're looking at? And then we know, remember what we said? You define it. Then as you go into it, you're able to say, okay, yeah, we define our marriage. We set some goals. And we're able to say, okay, you know what? We've reached, we've ascertained, we've attained what we were looking for because we knew what we set in motion. We started taking action and now we've reached the goal. So I think that's super important for us all.
Yeah. I was even going to ask, if anyone wants to share some tips that they've implemented in their marriage to help them enjoy their marriage and come out of that place of just putting up with things and stuff like that. So any tips you can share as well, that will go a long way for the community, and those watching this later, your comments will be there. They'll be able to see, to get an idea of some things that people do to enjoy their marriage. For those of you that are enjoying, put it, let us know some of the things that you do to enjoy your marriage.
Super. Who was that? Grace says hi to Ecosmios. Damilola says, met a couple who enjoyed marriage for 40 years and were not saved. Rejected Christ. Is enjoyment the end goal of marriage? Powerful question. I think now there's a view that we need to have here of the saved and the unsaved, the godly and the ungodly. And marriage in a nutshell, I believe, is a picture. Marriage is a picture of what Christ has done for us. Basically, if you look at the model, if you look at marriage for what it is, marriage essentially is a picture. Like I was saying to you earlier on, for the spiritual man, we see Christ and the way he loves his church, and we're like, you know what, this is the model of marriage. And as we model Christ and in the way that we love our wives and we set up our house in a godly manner, our marriages actually are a testimony of the goodness and the grace of God. We're having a conversation, I mentioned it earlier on, with our accountability couple a little while ago, and one of them had said that their friend, who was an unbeliever, was inquiring about their marriage, saying, how comes your marriage is like this? How comes the husband responds this way? How comes the wife responds this way? And our friend was saying, well, ultimately it's because we're Christians.
Yeah. It's
because we're believers. And this is an unbeliever. And you know what the person said? They said, well, evidently they need a Christian wife. And it's a funny thing, but then as the conversation kind of went round, and the other partner there said, the other member of the couple said, yeah, but does the Christian wife want you? And there's such a, do you understand? And there's such a dynamic there, because really our relationships are a testimony. Yeah, that's what they are. They're a picture of Christ. Come on now. People are looking at us from the outside, and it's like it's not always evident. It's beautiful, like saying, okay, people in the natural can be together for 40 years, and like they enjoy. But I'd ask them, what really are you enjoying? You might have money, you might have good jobs, you might have children, you might be raising your children well, but where Christ is not at the focus, where Christ is not at the center of that marriage, something is lacking.
Or something else is at the center.
Yeah, no, of course something else at the center, but it's not only that something else at the center, something's lacking. They are not living the fullness of the anointing. But let me not go into that. That's a sermon for another day. But that's a great question. Thank you, Damilola. We appreciate that.
I'm gonna be like,
Oh no, go on, me. What's that? Tell me. Come on. We want it.
No, I'm just saying, like, I was just about to say that there are people probably
in the natural. Okay, who are enjoying marriage.
Yeah, and
that's what Damilola just said.
And it's not to say that because they're not Christians or because they're not saved that they're not enjoying the full fruit.
Okay, let me say it to you. Because they are.
Because they might not know it, but it's still the grace of God that is keeping them.
If you have I'll put it this way. This is a good one. Thank you, Father. You know James Bond? Yeah. I'm not advocating James Bond for no one now yet, but James Bond is known for his Aston Martins. Now,
And his martinis.
I forget that, but we're focusing on the Aston Martins now, yeah. So if he drives if he drives his car, and he's been coached by Q, you know, he's the scientist person.
Yeah.
James knows all of the functions and the functionalities of that, features and functions of that car. But if a stranger gets into that car and starts driving it, or picks up James Bond's watch and starts wearing it, okay, they don't understand the full capacity.
Yeah.
They can drive the vehicle. It can go fast. They may even find the odd button here and there and be like, wow, okay, the number plate spins or it's got turbo. But they will never experience the full richness of a godly marriage.
So some Christians are not experiencing that either.
That's right. And listen, this is not to say, yeah, if you're immediately a Christian, you're going to experience it. It's the wholeness. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, look, there is, if we want to talk about forgiveness, all right? We talk about selflessness. We talk about agape love. And people can mimic or borrow aspects of that, but unless you fully have if you have the full appreciation of what that is, you cannot experience that in its fullness. You need God to have that full expression of those characters, of those traits, and of that and of that experience in marriage.
Ezekiel.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
When he's on fire, isn't it?
That's what I'm trying to say. Osakima says, blessings everyone. We greet you again, sir. Good evening. Good evening. Ecosmios says, greeting Grace. How you doing? We got a statement from Ecosmios. It says, I think marriages just float along due to the lack of spending time with one another and involving one another in what the other's interests and hobbies. Life can be filled with so many different distractions. It's easy to realize you're just living alongside someone rather than with someone. I genuinely believe this is a reality.
Definitely.
And along with the focus on time, I think it's about conversation. You know, some people are not talkers.
Yeah.
Some people are not really open. Some people are not really emotional.
Yeah.
Some people are not really expressive. And I think
some people have been burnt so bad that they are just a closed book.
And I think it's very important for us, as we're spending that time that Cosmos is talking about, to begin to converse, to communicate. And this is why if you've got even if you've got a 10-point checklist, you've got some kind of structural guide to assist you.
That's right.
Over the weeks, the months, the years, the days. I think this is a powerful tool to support you in growing in intimacy, psychologically, in intimacy emotionally, in intimacy physically. We really need to make a concerted effort. It's one thing to spend time with a person, and there is massive value. Me and you just sit in the same room with each other over a greater period of time, and that's what happens with at work. That's where these affairs you talk about come in, because people are in such close proximity for such a long period of time that they begin to build these invisible connections, and it's those invisible connections that and it's those invisible connections.
It's all about to change. Thanks to Corona.
And it's those invisible connections that actually meant lockdown, not Corona.
Sorry, lockdown.
And it's those invisible connections that that kind of begin to breed those things. So I think it's so important. The time spending aspect is really, really key. Next to that, I think it's very important that we have a structured approach at becoming more intimate. Yeah. And so that was a great point. Thank you so much, Ecosmios. Yeah. Says, all right, come on, what questions you got?
No, so I was just gonna say that should we share a few things that we do to kind of keep the fire burning? Yeah, I'm gonna listen while you talk. No, don't try it, Zeke. We're both gonna share stuff.
Come on.
Okay. Right, okay, so me personally, I just like to ask you questions. I like asking questions.
She likes to talk. That's what she means. She likes to talk.
I like asking questions.
She's a talker.
I like asking questions. And you know what? Because
she thinks I'm a talker as well.
Because sometimes you just have to find a way to engage with your spouse. Yeah. And for me, I love being taught by my husband. Is that right? Yeah. I like it when you teach me. I like to kind of like sit down and listen to him, educate me on things that I do not know. You
saying that for the camera, or is this real talk?
Babe, don't try it.
I'm playing.
You know, so I know, like, if I ask a question, I know I'm gonna get an answer. And for me, I enjoy that, and I feel like he enjoys. That's one of the things that I know you do enjoy. You do enjoy kind of like us having those deeper conversations, not just surface level, because it can kind of go deep, and you know, it can turn into a Bible study. Yeah, you know, the Bible comes out, and I start getting scriptures and stuff.
We had a good day today.
Yeah, we did. Today was solid. Today was really, really good. We love spending time together. We love spending time together. Even if that's just a drive. It could be just to drive off somewhere. We love spending time together because that is so important. And we understand that we have to spend time together without the children as well.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely something that we know we have to do. A lot of the times, you know, we do things with the children, but we know we need our time.
Listen, and just I know that can be difficult for some of you. We've spoken to so many people that have said they don't have a support network, they don't have that community. Yeah. And I know that can be a real challenge. Sometimes it's about putting the children to bed and spending some time downstairs in the sitting room.
That's right.
Or upstairs in the sitting room, depending on where you live in. But it's really important for us to make the effort to do these kind of things Sarah's talking about right now. Sometimes it's going to the park, letting the children go out in the park, and you sit in the car with your spouse and observe them, or you sit on a bench not too far from them and you observe them. Really important. Sorry, but continue. Sorry.
That's one. That's another thing. Obviously, before lockdown, we'd just like go out for something to eat. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. We can go and grab Chinese, kebab, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So there's that. Oh gosh. Loads of different things. Yeah. Like, you like us working out together. I know that's one thing that he really does. Like, I like it too, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love being coached by my husband.
Let's go. Alright, so let's have our counselling session right now, here and now, okay? So there was a point in time where I was super motivated about working out with Sarah. But obviously, when I realised that was not something that Sarah was reciprocating, I had to go it alone.
Yeah, but babe, I did it for bare months.
Huh?
I did it for bare months.
Listen, if I tell you the real story, listen, this is why we need one of those.
But anyway,
it was
kind of like a habit that he started.
We get that 60-second platform. I'll be making 60-second videos for you lot to know what's going on.
It was kind of like a habit he started, this like working out together thing. And it is very enjoyable. It's very rewarding when we do work out together. I do love it. I do.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Just to build on that, I think you need to find. Cosmos mentioned it a moment ago, and it's really important. You need to find like hobbies or things that your spouse likes, and you need to invest in those things. We spoke about this earlier on. If you're pre-marriage, you're thinking, I'm going to go into this, and you don't know how to walk in love. You don't know how to put your flesh under. You don't understand how to sacrifice, and you think you're going to go into marriage and make it successful. Listen, you're setting yourself up for a lot more work. You want to kind of iron out some of those things early on. So it's very important to find out some of the hobbies, some of the activities, and they don't even need to be big hobbies. We used to play badminton together a good few years ago. And we were walking one of the local parks recently, and I think one of my daughters said, look, there's a court there. You and mum, or you guys can come and play badminton. And it's one of those things, just really find the little things that one or the other likes, and then you have to. It's a sacrifice. It's a labor of love. I'm going to do it for you because this is what you want to do, and it's an opportunity for us to spend time and grow together.
Yeah. Holidays again. That's always a nice one. And it's funny because we always kind of. We make it a point to at least have a holiday where it's like just the two of us as well. That's also important. I mean, we just love spending time together. I think that's to be honest with me and Ezekiel, whatever we can do to spend time together, I think that's our enjoyment. Like sometimes he'll just be like, babes, just come and like sit with me. And I'm like, but I've got things to do. He's like, just sit with me. And then before you know it, I sit with him. Then we end up watching something or discussing it, playing pause as we're chatting through things. Or he might just be doing his work and he might just want me in the environment. Like, he doesn't want me in the kitchen, he doesn't want me upstairs. He just wants me in the same space as him. And for him, that's his enjoyment, to just look and say, oh, like, she's right there. And for me, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm here, babes. You know, you enjoy looking at me. I'm enjoying you looking at me too.
Come on now.
Do you know what I mean? So there's that stuff. But you just really have to find what works for you. But then in saying that, find what works for you, you can try things that you don't think is going to work for you. Okay, because you won't ever really know until you've tried it. New activities. You won't really know until you've tried it.
Be adventurous. Yeah,
be adventurous, and just constantly find ways of talking to each other. Constantly finding ways of talking to each other. So it's just so important.
I once heard a white man say that, revealed to me actually, that eating a meal is like the second highest form of intimacy.
Eating a meal with someone.
Yeah, eating a meal with someone. Thank you. So, and I think it's really important that we understand that. And I think in today's day and age, it's taken for granted in at such great height. And I think it's very vital that we understand, when you sit down with someone to fellowship with them, to eat and to communicate, this is fellowship, and it's a rich form of fellowship. And we need to consciously invest in that with our spouses and obviously with our wider community, but really understand that as we come together, as we sit together, and as we eat together, that we're actually building here. Something's actually happening. So those meals, our children are not allowed to watch while they're eating. There is no, you're on your laptop, you're watching on a phone or anything. Like, we do not advocate that at all. And much the same for us. It's not something that we entertain in the house at all. It's like, we don't do it. It's very poor etiquette. So
unless it's like movie and popcorn,
of course, that's different. Yeah,
but
outside of that,
eating your dinner.
So it's like, and those times should be times of fellowship. Those should be times of, at least, even if it's dead silence, we're together, we're eating together, we're experiencing each other in that moment. It's very, very important that you cultivate those things as well.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think you tackled a lot of stuff, man. I think find activities that you both like. Just like, don't be afraid to start. I think when we started working out together, it was new. Sarah, I don't think maybe she'd done bits and pieces of working out here and there, but it was never really this is consistent. Intense. Yeah. And I think when we started, she was super reluctant. To try and ease her in. I was like, look, when I start working out, you just sit on the sofa. She didn't even do that to start with. But
no, I told her to stop.
What?
That was after.
No, that was at the beginning. Anyway, so that was at the top end. But the fact of the matter is, find something that you want to do. Pick 2 or 3 items max, and then try and work them in over the next quarter, and just see how you can begin to implement those. Track yourself, see how well you've done, kind of really connecting. And I think that's a good start for you, really. But the key, Sarah said that she's kind of reiterated the point a lot. Spending time is key. Cosmo said the same thing. And next to that, communication. Time and talking. This is very, very key. Everything else you can do aside that, I think, is a massive benefit.
Yeah.
I think we had another comment come through just now, right?
You read one.
Cosmo said, you said it as the words were being typed in my mind, bro. Okay. I think I was elaborating on your point earlier on, yeah? Super. It's like using the product without the manual. Yeah, you can enjoy use, but not to the fullest. Yes.
That's true.
The Aston Martin. That's right. James Bond's Aston Martin. One of my top tips is having regular date nights, having the one-to-one time. This is why empty nesters have one of the highest rates of divorce. Come on,
that
people.
Is so true. That is so true. Empty nesters, as the people that their children have grown.
Yes,
and
that's
left
right.
That's
right.
Home.
So, yeah. Because it says, I like it when you teach me. Oh, fire. That's a line right there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, because you know what? For me, I really think it is important as a wife to, be under, your leadership, under your guidance. And it's like, if you're able to teach others, why are you not able to teach me? Kind of thing. And then again, that's just kind of like, I guess, where sometimes, we have to be in a place where we can humble ourselves enough to, and even husbands, to, speak to your wife and, have her give you knowledge, hear from her side of things and have her explain things to you from her angle. You might learn something new, do you know what I mean? Or it's, a woman can say things in a way where a man might not have actually thought of, because we do look at things from different angles. So it is important for us to really be in love with each other that much that we are still extremely teachable. You know, we can teach each other, kind of.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
When it comes to weave, hair extensions, eyelashes.
Babe, you be trying to teach me, don't you?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Zeke will research anything, and he'll be like, "Babe, did you know that? Relax, there's a chemical. It goes into your hair, and it goes into your brain.
I'll be learning from Sister Says
they can fry you."
And obviously, our eldest now is growing to the point where she be teaching too. She be trying to teach it out as well in her strength zones as well. So
I'll be trying to teach.
Yeah, but listen, everyone's got something to say for real. Boy. Tensile strength, innit? We learned that from one of the young ones.
Stevie taught us what tensile strength was.
Yes, exactly. So like that. So I think honor is just important. I think honor in the marriage is really important. If you're really desirous to live and enjoy your marriage, you have to honor your spouse. This is really, really important. You're saying that you've entered into a covenant with this person, that you know what, they are the number one. I've determined that it's me and you for the rest of our days. And I think that alone, not just in like eye service or kind of, you know, just mouth service, but really this needs to be something that is a conviction from the heart. After the vows, after the cutting of the cake, after the exchange of the rings, after the night of consummation, like as things continue, it's like these after the honeymoon, this honor must develop, this respect, this reverence. I know that might be a deep word. What do you mean reverence? What do you mean I should reverence my wife? What do you mean I should reverence my husband? Listen, it's very, very important for us to look at them and appreciate them for who God has created them to be, not just as a part of us, but as God's creation. All right, this is super, super important. We need to learn to honor and really to honor our spouses and really invite God in. Inviting God into your relationship. These are some of the key things I feel that can change the game for you forever.
Yeah,
forever, forever, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we good?
Yes, we
good?
are.
Super. Look, this was an anniversary special. I know it kind of felt like a normal stream, but it felt like slightly different to me in a way. So I just want to say thank you to all of you who came in live, and you guys who are here with us. Super, like really appreciate you guys so much for your time, for your attention, spending that time with us today. I think we'll sign off right here, right?
Yeah.
Brother Ezekiel
and Sister Sarah.
This was our Marriage Matters Live anniversary special.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back with something fresh in a fortnight.
That's right.
God bless you.
Have a great week.
I want to see you guys in the comments. Yeah, let me see you dancing in the comments. Right? Let's go.
Enjoy
Let's go.